thousands of people, additionally. IDF leaders, I want to tell you, were less concerned by the impact of those deaths on Israel's international standing, Israel's international image, than they were on the psychological and moral well-being of IDF soldiers. That was far and away their priority. Finally, Israel had no endgame. As they say in Hebrew, we didn't know to whom we would give the keys to Gaza if we uprooted Hamas. 22 days after this operation began, with its troops nearing the center of Gaza City, Israel declared a unilateral ceasefire. Hamas followed suit the next day. The last IDF trooper withdrew from Gaza just before Barack Obama was inaugurated. And only one question remained: who, if anybody, won? Now here, I feel that my divergent perspectives as an historian, a citizen, as a soldier, here they converge. The operation totally erased whatever doubts remained about the IDF's prowess, its professionalism, its ability to mount complex aerial attacks, to coordinate intelligence and ground forces, to minimize Israeli casualties. We lost 6 soldiers to Hamas fire. We killed as many as 800 gunmen. Israelis have their confidence in their army restored and in their society, which stood up admirably in the face of nonstop rocket fire. Nobody ran away. Having been fired upon across the two borders, the Gazan and the Lebanese, from which they withdrew unilaterally, Israelis have been reassured that, again, that they can give up territory and still have the right to defend themselves. Please understand, this is an essential component of any peace process. You want peace? Israelis have to be assured that if they withdraw from the West Bank, they're not going to have their airport shelled the next day. The new American administration was presented with an image of a strong and united Israel. Now, this is an important impression for Israel to make as U.S. forces begin their withdrawal from the Middle East. Hamas has been humbled. Unlike Hezbollah, Hamas didn't fight. It hid. No matter how it tries to spin it, and boy, they're trying to spin it. The Palestinians know it, the Arabs know it, the Iranians know it. Israel has not only reinforced its deterrent power, it has smashed Hamas's deterrent power. Gone is the fear of all those booby-trapped streets. The IDF can now access Gaza City at will. The United States, Egypt, and the European community are now committed to combating arms smuggling into Gaza and to returning the border crossings to international responsible control. There has been a price to pay. A price to pay in terms of Israel's image, although mostly in parts of Western Europe. A price to pay in terms of Israel's morality, because we are deeply pained by civilian losses. And there is a price to be paid in the Middle East, where Hamas, like Hezbollah before it, has gained in popularity, at least in the short run. And there are no illusions. Hamas will redig those tunnels. It will rearm to a large extent. It will sporadically violate the ceasefire, as it did yesterday, justifying an Israeli response. Gilad Shalit is unlikely to be freed in the near future. At the end of the day, though, Hamas, and again, like Hezbollah, will think many times before rocketing at Israeli towns and cities. The Gazans, like the Lebanese, are furious, and not only at Israel. They're furious at Hamas. Israel will continue to grapple with accusations of disproportionality, paying a price for our superior arms, our civil defense system, and for the fact that our army doesn't hide behind our civilians. Disproportionality. But all of that is a relatively small price to pay compared to the alternative. The alternative being a situation where terrorist groups can render large swaths of Israel uninhabitable, in which the possibility for any peace process is less than nil, a situation in which Iran keeps Israel and the international community focused, preoccupied with border crises while completing its production of nuclear weapons. Avoiding all that, regaining deterrence, may not be as memorable a victory as paratroopers dancing in front of the Western Wall in 1967. It is rather a 21st century victory, and that, as an historian, as a citizen, as a soldier, is victory enough for me. Thank you.
Thank you. There will now be the opportunity to ask questions. A microphone has been placed in the center aisle. Please line up there if you have a question to ask. Let me remind you that you're asked to identify yourself, ask your question. Robust discussion and debate is what a university is about, but make it a question, ask it, be concise so that not only will Professor Oren have a chance to answer, but others in the audience will have the chance to ask questions as well. We'll let Michael take over, and let's begin.
Water. Okay. Please, thank you. I'm just going to get my water while you asked. I'm listening.
Thank you. My name is Hani. Excuse me. My name is Hani. I'm from Gaza Strip. I go to school here, and I work. I am here as an individual. My question is, in the past 2 years, I've lost 3 cousins of mine. I could give you the names and the dates of all of them. One of them was killed by Hamas in June 2007. 2 of them, the latest Israeli adventure into the Gaza Strip. The only militant among them is the one that Hamas targeted. The 2 others, one of them is a college girl. She's 22 years old, making tea in the kitchen. And the second one of mine, he's a paramedic that the New York Times wrote an article about. His name is Ihab al-Madhoun, I believe, and he got killed with his 48 hours later. My other question to you is, you had a choice, and you chose to live in Israel since you were from New Jersey. I don't have a choice. I didn't choose to be in the Gaza Strip. How does that fit into your narration of history? Thank you very much.
I had a hard time understanding the last part of your question. Why do I have a choice? You don't have a choice?
Yeah, no, you have a choice. You were raised in New Jersey, and now you live in Israel, which is great. So you chose to live there. But I don't have any choice. I'm just going to go back to Gaza or attempt to get into the Gaza if I can. So how does that fit into your personal narrative?
My personal narrative is my personal narrative. I would hope that at some point in you going back to Gaza, and if you make that choice, because I don't know if you can remain in the United States or not, that you have a choice to place Gaza Strip under a different leadership and to embark on a different direction. Because the hope here is that the population of Gaza will look around at the devastation that I believe Hamas has brought to Gaza, and they'll look at what their neighborhoods, what their economy looks like, and they'll look at, say, for example, the West Bank economy, which has done very well this year. Bethlehem had a record Christmas this year. It's full of tourists. And that is going to present an alternative to them. It's a different scenario. It's like looking at 2 boxes. You have choice, box A or box B. You want to look like Gaza City, you want to look like Bethlehem. There's your alternative. In moving to Israel, and I would define Zionism this way. Zionism, to my definition, has always been accepting responsibility for ourselves as Jews. Something, in this country you can accept yourself a responsibility as a citizen of the United States, but as a Jew, there's only one place you can accept responsibility for yourself, and that's in Israel, and we take responsibility. I think you heard from my remark tonight that we've made an awful lot of mistakes, tragic mistakes, stupid mistakes. We supported Hamas in the 1980s. How stupid is that? We take responsibility for it. I take responsibility for it when I go to the polling stations. I take responsibility for it when I put on a uniform. I take responsibility for it when my kids put on uniforms. And my hope would be that in going back to Gaza, if you so choose, that you take on the responsibility for changing things, because I think that there are opportunities there. I also believe that the sizable majority of Israelis, if convinced that there is a diplomatic option that will result in security for them, will make immense sacrifices. Immense sacrifices. It's my hope. And I'm sorry for your loss.
My name is Samir Anwar, and I'm a senior in the McDonough School of Business. And my question is about what you just mentioned, that the IDF continues to claim responsibility for all of its actions. And it says that they continue to claim that they're deeply upset by the civilian losses and the losses of infrastructure within the Gaza Strip. So my question to you would be, how many, and would the IDF be sending its soldiers and reservists to help in the reconstruction of Gaza, schools, mosques, UN facilities, university? And I know Israel doesn't like to send money to help Gaza because it thinks it's going to go to the militants and terrorists. But out of the really high cost of reconstruction,